40 episodes, a few years of automotive destruction, and an electric car. All right here in the episode 40 shootout of BeamNG RoadKill. "40 episodes. 40. It is incredible that I've made it this far doing this series. Not only that, I've made over 100 videos on it. Between extras, main episodes, projects. Yeah. So, I decided, well, the original plan was for episode 40, I wanted to try and beat an electric car again, and that was to prepare a bunch of vehicles and have them ready. Well, kind of tweaked that plan a little bit. I decided to go through a list of vehicles of what we had for the season, and we're gonna do all these cars around this track at the compound and see if they could see what's faster than an electric car. So we're going up against the ESBR4 again, which is yeah, it's fast, but it's not gonna handle well. So I'm gonna run it in sport because of dirt. And this thing already doesn't handle well. The brakes aren't good. For an electric car, this thing is really a piece of shit. But I guess it's fitting for the vehicles that we have here. And maybe if I have time at the end, we might take a few of these a couple miles away to the drag strip and see their quarter mile times. Definitely interested to see the cop car run again. I've been testing that. Maybe double car and the ETK. A few other vehicles I'd like to see go down the strip. Or maybe I'll do that for a projects episode that will follow up the weekend after for this. Something along those lines, or something that might come out early that's just having fun with some of the project vehicles. So, yeah. I originally wanted to do this with Sean, and, well, we recorded it, and it felt extremely rushed. And it was, because Sean had to go do something. So I'm re-recording this myself, and I feel like just like the audio quality is going to be better, and probably the action is going to be a little better, because I don't have Sean here watching me, and I don't have... They're really concentrating on concentrating talking back and forth with him. But yeah, so this new thing here that I've discovered is the hot lapping app, which when you hit this, it'll put this little checkpoint here, and then when I'm ready to go, it'll actually time my race. So we don't need to use the phones anymore. Literally, there's an app in the game that does this. I knew that there was probably something like this, but I'm cool with it. So basically, this is the finish line, and yeah, fastest car around is probably going to be the electric car, because when me and Sean did this, these things didn't go well, and of course one of the vehicles managed to break halfway through the recording, which I don't know what happened with that mod. But alright, here we go. First vehicle. Now, I will say this, for an electric car, I really felt like Beam would have made this thing handle like a Tesla, and I feel like you can if you mess with the configuration for the ESBR4. But this thing really lacks in brake performance. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, there we go. Come on, let's go, let's go. Jump it. $43.7. That's it's actually faster than when we did the phones. So I wonder if this timer is a little bit more accurate. But yeah, it was decent for this thing. But yeah, I hate this car. Doesn't handle well. Let's move on to the... We're going to go in order from slowest to fastest and horsepower-wise. So we're going to start out with Sean's vehicle, Little Herb. And here is Little Herb. So for people who don't know, this will be a video coming out on the channel, hopefully in September. You probably would have already seen this thing. But this is basically a replica of Sean's 1977 Volkswagen Bug that he has. He bought it for about $4 grand, and we recreated it in Beam. And I wanted it to race because I just wanted to put both Autobellas up against each other with the Tony Fettuccine, which I think the Tony Fettuccine is faster than Little Herb. That's why we're doing Little Herb first. But yeah, it's making 112 horsepower, about 200 foot-pounds of torque. It's got a 1.7 liter Boxer 4-cylinder in it. So let's see how it does. Now I will tell you this is probably one of Sean's best handling vehicles that he's built, or at least that he has. A lot of his Jeeps don't handle well because of the lifted suspension and Beam's physics, but I really like this little thing, and I'm trying to tempt him into putting 600 horsepower in this thing, but it looks like we're going to be doing that with a different Autobella later in the next season here. I think season 5. .46.4, actually faster. When I first ran this thing with him, I spun it out, but not bad. Not bad at all. It's actually a respectable time for a Beetle. But yeah, we're going with Tony Fettuccine next. That thing is, I think, making a little bit more horsepower, but it's the same block basically, and almost the same engine setup. So we'll be right back with the Fettuccine. So all the way from Italy is the Tony Fettuccine. This is a vehicle that we did a special on back towards the beginning of the season when the Italy map came out for BeamNG. It originally had a turbo with a 1.1 liter block in it, and we did wheelies with it. This thing actually did wheelies, and we might be making one of these do wheelies again later this season with Sean, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, it's making, I think, a little bit more horsepower and torque than Herb. I don't know the exact numbers on the block, but it's basically a fully built block with everything on it. It's all the same parts as Herb. I just think better parts internally for the motor. But I think it's faster. So we will start hot lapping. And I think one of the reasons why this thing feels a bit more groggy with acceleration is because of the gear ratios. I had to put a transmission in this thing from Italy. So it had some work done. I was actually telling someone that this is the most prepared I think I've ever gotten a set of vehicles for a video. This thing feels like a turd. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. This thing doesn't handle well because of the skinny tires. I'm gonna have to move the cone. So we'll just give that a 50 flat since I spun out. But, yeah. You'll be seeing this thing again really soon, though. We got a big plan for the fettuccine. So let's move on to double car. Ah, so this one is a freshie. This is double car. This is basically one of my ideas that I've had all season that I did towards the end of it, where I take a Jeep and a truck and glue them together and see if it makes the ultimate off-road vehicle. As you can see, I blew the Jeep up. That motor was basically done by the end of that shoot with all the high revs and trying to get this thing off of the top of a car, but this idea works, but can be improved. I actually had a subscriber reach out and give me an idea of how I can improve this, which I'm not sure if it will work that way, but I guess we'll have to see in a future episode for this thing. I don't know how much horsepower it's making, that's why it's ahead of the Burnside, but I think the Burnside is going to be quicker due to steering. This thing steers like garbage, but I'm not going to run it in four-wheel, but I locked the rear diff. It seemed to improve the steering a little bit. So we'll see if that holds true. So let's start actually, let me write down a 50 flat for Tony, and just write that down quick. All right, let's go. So basically this thing surprised me in many ways, and it brought up a lot of issues in many ways that I never expected to run into with this thing. I didn't expect to have a steering issue with this thing. I expected to have more of a pulling problem with this thing, which did arise, but of course the supercharged 5.4 liter V8 in the roll cage truck there, it helped to push up the mountain. But it seems like the trans doesn't want to come out of gear. If you hold it at wide open throttle, wide turn. Oh, this is going to be a minute. This is easily going to be a minute. I'm going up into an embankment. There we go. That was a 108. I don't know why I have 4 laps. Wow. This thing can have some improving done to it, though. If I could make it into basically a 6x6 with an independent engine to the Jeep. But yeah. This thing's done. So next up, Burnside. Now this is an OG vehicle right here. This thing has been in the fleet for a very long time, and it's been through a lot of motors, as you can see. It's got a different motor in it now. We used to have a Venom 423 in this thing, and that motor basically went kaput. And I put a small block, 313 cubic inch V8 in this thing. It's only making about like 200 horsepower with the supercharger. It is a dog. It's not fast. It's just overall a bad choice, a bad idea, and just desperation to have a vehicle ready for this episode. But I'm going to put a big block in it and make this thing a very good vehicle for going around tracks, but also make it good at towing and doing anything else. This could basically be a vehicle you could get into and do anything with. But it's going to need a lot of work to get there, but let's hot lap and let's go. Now this thing is a really old vehicle. It's been in the fleet for a long time. And as you know, both vehicles that were made alongside this thing would be like, you know, the 3 Beam muscle cars. They're all in different directions now. $49.0. Not bad. Respectable. And I can tell you this. We're going up against a modern-day electric car. And old hoopties are managing to keep up with it now. Which, I don't know if that should shock anybody or anything, but that just shows how bad the electric car is. The electric car is only at a 43, and we have 3 vehicles now in the 42nd range. Which is amazing, and Tony Fettuccini isn't far behind. So I'm hoping that this will be a little bit of an upwards trend now, so that I can actually have more than one vehicle beat an electric car. Hopefully I'll have a couple beat it down the strip, but it's probably not going to happen. But next up is, let me look at my list. Let's do the trophy truck. That should be up next. Now, see, I don't understand this. I guess this thing just doesn't like being spawned in with multiple other vehicles, but why is it doing this? I don't know. It's we're just not gonna race it. So next, Freak Show. Freak Show. We haven't done him yet. Let's do Freak Show. One of the more crazy projects from this season, Freak Show. So this is basically an Abisu hopper that we took and made into this. It's got a straight 6 in it, put a supercharger on it now. Took the top off of it, and I put bigger tires on it and fixed the gear ratios, and it still has the 4-wheel drive issue from that episode. So rear-wheel drive on 9 pounds of tire pressure, because this thing is extremely light in the rear end. You may think to yourself, oh, maybe he made this thing actually handle better. No. But I do have plans for this thing to make it a little bit more insane. So, hot lap. Let's go. Transmission hates life. But can you be surprised with 42-inch Super Swampers on the back? Which I think I can actually put a 42-inch Super Swamper on the back of this thing for the spare tire. So, you might see that happen. Oh boy, go. 49.8. So this thing is on par with the Burnside. Yeah, no, it's basically 0.8 of a second slower. Wow, that's incredible for a Jeep with 42-inch tires on the back of it. Next, I guess the Blue Brook. That would be a decent vehicle for next. yeah, it's running again for this episode. It's only been a week since I did the projects episode on this thing, which should come out the weekend after the video doing the whole trophy truck thing with this thing. But yeah, this is the Bluebrook. This is a brand new vehicle in the Beam update that just came out a couple weeks ago. It's got a Cummins diesel in it. It's running about 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. It's got a 250 shot of nitrous, and it's got hydraulics with... God, that stance is beautiful on this car. It is amazing, the stance that this thing has. But, yeah, we're going to get going. Hot lap this thing. We're going to raise it a little bit. And I have high hopes for this thing. I don't think it's going to beat a 35... or no, not a 35.7. I don't think it's going to beat the 43 that the electric car got, but I think it's going to get very close. But next season, I am taking this thing out on a much more legitimate race course. I think I'm going to take this thing back up into Maine and race it on Hirochi Raceway. So stay tuned for that. If not, it's going to be in a projects episode soon, because I'm really excited to do that. I also want to take the twin-turbo ETK to Hirochi Raceway. I feel like they'll both be very strong vehicles out there. So maybe there'll be a towing video soon with the Power Wagon. It's been a long time since I've had that thing up on the channel. But yeah, let's begin. So this thing really took a direction that I was not expecting. I did not want this thing to end up like a Cletus McFarland replica of, oh boy, of his Galaxy with the Cummins diesel, but I saw the mod and immediately just thought to myself, we don't really have a diesel vehicle. The Rotson we do have, but it sucks with that diesel motor. So, oh, a 50.7. I feel like I could shave some time off if I put better tires on this thing, but this thing can beat that electric car. This thing hauls ass on straightaways. This car is amazingly fast. It's 2 for 2 for braking, but here you can see it's not broken. It just needs a radiator because it overheats if you try to do a thing in this thing. But this thing can beat that electric car. Maybe I'll come back to it with Hirochi Raceway and we'll bring the twin-turbo ETK as well, because I think that thing is going to be able to beat it around the course here. But, yeah, the Bluebrook, I love this thing. This is a very good vehicle, but since this is technically Cletus McFarland's Galaxy, I think we got to go back-to-back with rip-offs of his car. Let's go with the cop car. Now, this one is a doozy. I love this car. This is one of my favorite vehicles in the fleet right now. And not just because it's a Cletus McFarland ripoff. Like, I had this idea completely separate to how Neighbor is. It's just I couldn't, like, it's just a big series of events that just kind of lined up, because I did the whole nitrous thing before I think Neighbor was even really popular with his channel. But then I just saw how incredible that was, and I'm like, you know, it'd be cool to do that to the cop car instead of leaving it as a nitrous bomb. And this thing is amazing. Awesome burnouts, drifts. It's an accidental 1100 horsepower. When can you go anywhere and hear you made accidentally 1100 horsepower on no spray, just blower and motor? You can't go anywhere without hearing that. But if there's any vehicle that is going to beat that electric car down the strip, I know this one can, because the fastest pass that it ran the other day was an 895, which is technically still a 9-second pass, but it's faster than the electric car because that runs about a 9.2 in the quarter. So this thing is a couple seconds faster. But this vehicle's big issue is pushing through the front. Oh, this is not a bad. This is a bad spot. Oh, that wasn't a nice hit. Something's broke. I took a cone with me. Oh, it didn't count it. I guess I didn't go through it. You know, it's shit. I think we might do a rerun. Because I don't actually know the time. I was concentrated on style points there. So, yeah, let's fix this. Alright, round 2. Yeah, this vehicle's main issue is light in the rear. And heavy in the front. It's a big motor. This is a cop motor still, so... Managed to do 2 laps there. I don't know how. This thing isn't the best. But 49.3. Feel like if anything, this is the vehicle that you want on the drag strip. This is more tuned for straight line. It's on stock cop suspension. And yeah. I can tell you this. It does burnouts. This thing is amazing. All right, let's go with the next poorly handling vehicle. Blown Cornet. No faith in this thing. Now this vehicle looks cool. It's got 1,700 horsepower with a big block 440 in it. And that's it. Other than that, this thing is terrible. No grip, no handling, no suspension, and this thing has fully built up suspension. Put a cage in it finally, gutted it. Did the front suspension since I only did the rear in the episode 32, I think this was in. But yeah, no hopes in this thing. I'm kind of saving the ETK for last. Because I feel like that one's going to be a good one. And the Dominator. So we'll probably do the Dominator, Crusher Moonhawk, and the ETK for last. Because I feel like that one's going to be good. And maybe we'll run to the drag strip. Take a few vehicles over there and run the electric car again. Because I think a few are going to be able to beat that thing in the quarter. After a little bit of work. Don't know about the Bluebrook, but I want to run that thing again. Double car would be cool to run again. Maybe Fettuccine. That one might be fun. But yeah, I know the cop car can beat that electric car, so we're going to at least beat it in 2 things in this episode, but there's no way the rest of this junk is going to be able to. The ETK, I don't know about that thing. I've never really drag raced it with the new suspension and tires that it has, so it might be a little faster, it might not be. But let's start hot lapping. I took basically all the tire pressure out, which, as you can see, isn't helping this thing. Which, for some reason, this thing has no steering angle whatsoever. Which I'm going to guess is in the alignment. But then I'm also going to guess that, you know, this thing isn't really set up for cornering. This is a drag car again. Well, this is more of just a vehicle that I wanted to make. .105. Is double car actually faster than this thing? I'm gonna be very sad if double car is faster. No, okay, it's not. Okay, this thing's fine. But yeah, Jesus, fuck, this thing is terrible. So, let's go big block to big block. Crusher Moonhawk. Now this is another, I guess, a fan favorite, I guess, because this video seemed to do really well with burnouts for distance. The Instagram post did really well for burnouts for distance as well. So let's see if this thing can corner with the upgrades that I've done to it recently. Oh God, it's hating it. It's hating me. .2. Still holding up to that fact that all these old cars are keeping up to that shitty handling electric car. No ABS, no traction control, no nothing. And all these have like twice the horsepower, at least some of these vehicles, than that thing. And that thing handles worse than some of these, which is incredible, honestly, for the standards of this series. But let's hop in the Dominator. Built in purely protest against that electric car over there. The Dominator. I really built this thing to be faster than that car, and it is. I think this thing is going like an 880 or lower in the quarter, and there's room to go with this car. I think it has a lot more potential if I could learn how to tune the rear gears in it and everything. But I already know it has no shot because of this issue right here. Slicks. It's going to handle well. Well, no, it can actually kind of slide. Oh boy, oh boy. Turn. $46,300. Not bad. This thing, I feel like if I put some decent tires in the back of it, that it would actually be a good competitor against that car. It was pretty fast for those corners too, so. This thing will beat it down the strip though, I know that for sure. So, let's get into the top dog, the twin turbo ETK. A build that I've wanted to do for a long time is this car. A twin turbo ETK, turbo sticking out of the hood, built for drifting, drag racing, and track racing. And right now it's basically set up as a track car. I put suspension on the car, which I rarely do. I put suspension on vehicles that I feel have potential to actually be good at track racing or drag racing. This thing has it. This is a really solid vehicle around a course. And it doesn't have the rear seats, but it's going to get a cage and everything eventually, and you will see this thing next season, for sure. But time to go very quiet so that I can concentrate. Oh, I almost was able to do it. Damn it. I think he even collapsed the front struts. But, damn. That was close. I'm telling you. On a better track, these things definitely will have a way better chance than that electric car will ever have. I swear. And this will be tested, for sure. Alright, so we are here with the vehicles that I am the most confident, well, mostly confident, will be able to beat the ESBR 4. Now, we got the cop car, rockin' drag slicks now. We got the Barstow, or the Dominator, with drag slicks. We got the twin turbo ETK and the Blue Brook. The twin turbo and the Blue Brook, I don't know about. The Blue Brook is a heavy car. The twin turbo ETK might be close. So we'll see about that, but it's basically turbos, superchargers, and electric. All in one big package. So we're going to run the electric car first. No assist off the line. So let's see how this thing does for the quarter. $9.4. Whoa. Whoa. Oh. That's a fast time. But I know already, I'm coming out of this winning. Because I got two vehicles that are faster than a 9.4. So it's time to kick some ass. Now, I have actually figured out, and it's pretty stupid of me that I wasn't able to sooner, but I've kind of thought about launching vehicles in this game, and I figured out how to do it with the manual or realistic option on for the cop car, so I'm going to try it with the Blue Brook here. I don't think it's going to help it, but it's worth a try. Basically what I'm going to do is oh, that's too far. Oh, I didn't put nitrous on. That was slow as shit. We gotta put nitrous on. Alright. Should be ready to go. Yep. A little faster, but not enough to beat the electric car. But I feel like with a little bit of work, maybe some gear work in this thing, it can definitely be fast enough to beat that electric car. But you'll definitely see this thing returning, because this is slowly becoming one of my favorites as well. I really love this car, especially the motor setup in it and everything. It's perfect. And it's a good base to go off of, and if I can get some adjustable turbos in this thing, I'll be even better. So, let's move on to the twin-turbo ETK. Now this thing has undergone a lot of work since, well, it hasn't undergone a lot, but the new suspension and the car is, you know, handling a little bit better alignment and everything. So, it might be able to go a little faster in the corner. So, I hope it can. I gotta get a good launch here, though. Wow, this thing's a turd. It needs gears. That's what it needs. And a better trans. Because I feel like for the horsepower, that is way underpowered for this car, an 11.3. Wow. That sucks. Well, let's move on to the Dominator. Well, no, I think the Dominator is actually faster. So let's do the cop car next, because the cop car is the crucial launcher. So this thing has always had transmission slipping problems in first and second gear. And now, those issues are a thing of the past if I can launch this thing right. Hell yes, new fastest pass in 894. Winning. That's what we need. And it always comes at the end. Winning. This car is amazing. I love it. Moment of truth. Will this thing be faster? I think so. I think this thing will be very faster. No, I know. So the cop car's actually faster. I don't feel like that was the best launch that I could have done in this thing. But who cares? It's faster than an electric car. But we're not done. There's one last car. Now, of course, we've got all these beautiful vehicles here. But we got something else. Since we've had 2 ETKs in this episode, we now have an official RoadKill ETK. Yes, right there. This is the Rusto Rocket. This is one of ETK's highest performance modeled Hirochis that they have. Custom made to be rear wheel drive. It's got ABS in it. It's got electronic stability control. It's got a working radio. We had a roll cage put into the car. And of course, it's going to be a RoadKill vehicle. We got it wrapped to look rusty. And I don't know if this thing is going to be faster than an ETK or an ESBR4, but we're sure as hell gonna try. So let's see what this thing can do in the quarter. It's got amazing turbo noises. $11.9. Of course, it isn't electric. We had to get a gasser, but I feel like it can be faster. But you'll probably have to see that another day, because this thing is staying in the fleet. We do have other ETKs in the fleet. Or well, no, this is a Hirochi. Yeah, I forget this is an Hirochi. But yeah, but since we have the Hirochi SBR4 or ESBR4, we had to get an Hirochi SBR4. Just to have. And why not wrap it to look old so it fits right into the fleet? But yeah, 40 episodes. I've been doing this for a couple years now. I've been doing this for. And it hasn't gotten old still. Every episode, almost every episode, just keeps getting better and better. And more ideas come, more mods come out, more vehicles are worked on. And Beam isn't even really set up to be this type of game where you make vehicles to go fast. It's a car crashing simulator. But I've done 40 episodes of this, and people are just, you're still watching. I'm getting views that I don't get on any other video or any other videos. Like the BeamNG stuff for me with the RoadKill spinoff, it's amazing. I don't know how people enjoy this. It's not really great editing quality. It's not great commentary, but people find it entertaining still. And we just hit 100 subscribers a couple weeks ago, and yeah, I'm at 105 now. I might even be over that now. And we're still kicking. 40 episodes, 100 videos on BeamNG. And we're still here. Doing shit in BeamNG, building cars, rusty or not, having fun, testing things, and just automotive, like, destruction, carnage, chaos, but sometimes, like, the sweetest of success from BeamNG. And I have in the past thought about, you know, Beam isn't always going to be like this by what you can see when they implement it into the game. It looks like one day there might be a currency in it. It might become a little bit more kind of like Forza for the free roam. You never know what is going to really happen in the future with this game, where they're going to take the free roam and everything. But 40 episodes, and I know next season is going to be better than before. Like, we're going to have new vehicles, we're going to have vehicles return, and we'll be back for episode 50. I already have a great idea for episode 50, and that is returning to where the first episode happened. Hirochi Raceway. We're going to be going back there, and we're going to be racing some of the oldest cars versus the newest. And that will combine vehicles from the upcoming season. I'm really early pre-recording this. It's August 28th when I'm seeing this, and you're probably going to be seeing this October 2nd. You're going to be seeing this. So I'm just doing this to get it out of the way. I'm going back to school in a couple days, and I just don't want to worry about the series for a month. Come back to it fresh in October, let some mods come out, let some stuff update for the game, give me time to fix some things, and give me time to do a little bit more larger episodes of projects in that time. Projects are a lot more laid back. I can do them whenever. It's not a promised series like this, and I've held myself to doing this monthly pretty much. I've missed a month, I've missed a day, but I still had an episode for every month, at least. I think in season 3 I had a fuck up to where the off-road Barstow never uploaded for some reason, or never released, or I don't know what happened to that video. It just deleted itself from the universe. But yeah, we're still alive and kicking in BeamNG, and I don't see myself stopping. We got many more to do. We got more vehicles to work on. Nothing is perfect in this game. Nothing is perfect of anything that I make. But we're still going. We're going to keep strong. So hopefully you enjoyed 40 episodes of BeamNG RoadKill. And here's to another 40. Let's get to 80. If I could get to 100 main series episodes of this game, of this series, I'll be happy. I could end the series and never do it again. But I'm going to keep going until I get tired of it, which is probably never going to happen. Hopefully. Who knows? I might take a year off from it at some point, or I might change the schedule, which I have thought about possibly changing the schedule for this series. Maybe doing this as a Friday release instead of a Wednesday release. But that might happen after episode 50. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it, but hopefully you have enjoyed all the shenanigans, all the shit that I do in this game, and hopefully you keep enjoying it. Thank you for comments, support, subscribing, all of that. It really helps take the channel in a direction that I never saw it going in. So, thank you. Really. Hopefully you have enjoyed, though. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.